prepared to copy because I have an order, I have an instruction, something pop off.
Taking notes with Dr. E. A pen and tome of prophecy. One-tone fingers flipping pages, scars like apostrophes. Cafe smell of ink and latte steam. Soft spoken.
What's good, note takers? Welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Dr. Ellison. You can call me Dr. E. I am a veteran, a business and leadership strategist, and someone who sees life through a faith-filled lens. I see you reading your books. You are doing all the things, but today we are going to talk about taking notes and why it matters. If you are like me and you like writing in books, if you are someone who has suffered any type of trauma, like a brain injury, if you are a person that likes to annotate in your books, if you are a student, if you are a leader, if you journal, or you are just someone looking to improve, taking notes is something that can change your life. Today, we are going to explore the difference between typing and handwriting and why your brain learns a little bit better on paper. I'm a veteran, so I'll share a little bit about how the military teaches a powerful, structured note taking approach, why I write in my books and annotate everything, how journaling supports emotional healing, trauma processing, and mental clarity. I'm going to talk about another one of my favorite books, The Mind Mapping Method, and how it enhances creativity, disciplined note taking, and how writing can become a spiritual discipline by helping you hear a little bit more clearly what God is trying to say. Now, hold on. I am a doctor that does her weight in research, so I am going to nerd out on you for about 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seconds. So, handwriting versus typing and why it matters. So, in a recent medical article that I was reading, and it is entitled The Neuroscience Behind Writing, Handwriting versus Typing, Who Wins the Battle? There is a quote in there, and it reads like this. The comparison between handwriting and typing reveals important differences in their neural and cognitive impacts. Handwriting activates a broader network of brain regions involved in motor, sensory, and cognitive processing, contributing to deeper learning, enhanced memory retention, and more effective engagement with written material. Typing, while more efficient and automated, engages fewer neural circuits, resulting in more passive cognitive engagement. These findings suggest that despite the advantages of typing in terms of speed and convenience, handwriting retains an important tool for learning and memory retention, particularly in educational contexts. Now, I told you guys that I struggle a lot with studying and I struggled a lot in school. Now, the jury is still out. There is ongoing research as it regards the brain's activity when it comes to handwriting versus typing. Now, I am a lady that will clickety clack on the keyboard, so I do a lot of typing as well as writing, but I am going to share a lot about how handwriting is kind of like a cheat code for me and unlock some things. The article that I reference, it also goes on to say something that I find quite critical, and it says handwriting's engagement with sensory motor, cognitive, and memory related networks makes it a valuable tool for cognitive rehabilitation in individuals with neurological conditions such as stroke, traumatic brain injury, or neurodegenerative diseases. Additionally, the activation of brain regions associated with emotional processing and self awareness presents handwriting as a potential complementary strategy for addressing psychological conditions such as mood disorders in psychotherapeutic interventions. And this is just based on some studies that the researchers and neuroscientists did in this particular study. And as I shared with you all before, note takers, I am a veteran. I have had several traumatic brain injuries. I have also experienced other types of trauma in my life, and I don't know if you can relate to that at all. So, if you are a person that journals or are interested in journaling, this just reinforces kind of the science behind how helpful it is to actually handwrite, get hand on paper, hand on, there's power in the pen, actually writing down, getting our feelings out on paper. And it talks about how it helps with those mood disorders. So if you are one that struggles with depression or anxiety, and just note that what I'm telling you today is for educational purposes. It's not meant to be any sort of medical advice or anything like that. This is for educational purposes. So if you are interested in handwriting or doing something creative, I am definitely going to stress to you to make sure that you are talking these things through with a medical professional. So let me just caveat by saying that right there. But I can tell you that it has definitely been something that helped me. I did struggle with journaling, and so I do a little bit of creative journaling, and it has helped me a little bit with my memory. I told you before that I also keep a planner. I am a woman that calls herself a master planner. And hopefully, I can do some videos on how I plan, how I strategize, because not only am I a woman that loves books, I am a woman that loves books and business. I am a woman that loves books and also leadership. So, as we talk about books, as we talk about reading, I am going to dig deep into that business bag also because, when we're not reading, we are doing other things, right? Note takers. Also, there is another article that I read, and it is entitled Why Writing by Hand is Better for Memory and Learning. And educational neuroscience professor Sophia Vinci Boer. And this article I found in the Scientific American magazine stated that as you are drawing a letter or writing a word, you're taking this perceptual understanding of something and using your motor system to create it. That creation is then fed back into the visual system where it is processed again, strengthening the conditioning and the connection between an action and the images or words associated with it. Is similar to imagining something and then creating it. When you materialize something from your imagination, so like by writing it or drawing it or by building it, handwriting, drawing, building it is just helps you to imagine and it helps you to remember as opposed to typing where the what you're hearing is just going from your brain to your fingertips, right? So I really do like those articles. And I told you, note takers, that I was going to nerd out on you for a couple of seconds. And those are just a couple of research articles by some neuroscientists and some educators that I thought that were profound as we talked about note taking and handwriting. Because after all, we take notes, we annotate in books, but not too often do we think about the neuroscience behind it. So, handwriting your notes, it creates those stronger connections in our brain. It's proven to boost our memory, our understanding, and it is different than typing because when you're writing, you're actually using your hand, and that slows you down just enough so that you can process what you're really learning. And it is encouraging us to be more mindful so that we can stay present in the moment. So whether you're in a meeting, or if you're at church, or if you are just sitting at home and you are reflecting alone, actually sitting down, or I mean, you may be standing, because I have taken notes plenty of times, especially being in the military where I've had to stand. But actually taking time to handwrite notes gives us an opportunity to think through. It makes us actually process what is actually being said or what we're thinking about, instead of just quickly typing it out and not really taking time to process what we're thinking or what we're hearing, right? And taking notes is not just about remembering things, it's about the personal growth and the self development. And I tell you, I keep a lot of notebooks, and I like to keep them because I went back to a notebook that I had from 2001, and we are well past 2001 note takers. And just to see where God has brought me since 2001, and my mindset from 2001 today, and some of the goals that I had back in 2001 and what I have accomplished since then. I just find that handwritten notes are so personal, and they carry, your unique style, your thoughts, your energy. It allows you to see that even though we think we're kind of just trekking through the mud and the mire of right now, sometimes if you take an opportunity to just go back on what you wrote a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 2001, like I did, you will see how far you come. Sometimes it doesn't seem like we've really gotten that far, but if we take a look back, we can see that, yeah, we've had some traumatic moments, or maybe some sad or depressing, or moments of anxiety. We've had some ups and downs. Life is full of peaks and valleys. And so I just really like that note taking and keeping journals, and annotating, even if it's just annotating in books. Sometimes I'll flip through old books that I have, and I'll just look back and I can see where I was at a certain place and time in my life. And when I look back, it's like, thank you, God, for keeping me. Thank you that I'm not stuck there in that place where I was, and how, just continuing to put one foot in front of the other. And then in business, whether you work from home or you are out in the marketplace, regardless of what field or industry you are in, good notes can lead to better decisions, sharper strategies, more successful outcomes. And I do want to share with you a book that helped me kill the game, and that is this book right here. This book is called Mind Mapping. And the author of this book is Tony Buzan. He is internationally acclaimed. He is the inventor of mind maps. He is a leader in the field of innovative thinking. He is an expert on the brain, memory, speed reading, and creativity. He has dedicated over 50 years to mind maps, and he has authored or co-authored over 150 books. Mr. Buzan has advised Olympic athletes, businesses, governments, and educational authorities worldwide. And I have got to absolutely share with you, and you'll see some things in this video, but if you take a look here, the author went back and put some Egyptian hieroglyphs in here, and he just talks about the importance of how our brain processes actually having written visuals down. Because, we're people that like to look at YouTube videos and television. And, when we're children, we color in coloring books and we go to art class and things like that. And how our brain and visualization helps us to process information and learn. And so I like that the author here put these Egyptian hieroglyphs in here. Another thing that the author did in here is that he actually has some pages from the notebook, Knowt Takers, of Leonardo da Vinci. And this image right here is some images out of Da Vinci's notebook. So, in conjunction with writing words and writing down notes and jotting down observations, you have people with fascinating mindsets like Leonardo da Vinci who actually wrote charts and graphs, and they drew pictures and images and diagrams. And I just really like the creativity of seeing these sketches and combining words with their imagination. And another thing in here is Charles Darwin, another modern geneticist, and that is this image right here. So Charles Darwin used some diagrams in combination. He put sketches and he mapped out the tree of life as he thought through the evolutionary process and things like that. And if you are in the medical field, you may be familiar with concept maps or the fishbone diagram. That is kind of like what a mind map is like. And I will put a mind map in here for you. And when I learned about this, early on, I really just started to kill the game in business and school. It just kind of helped me level up my note taking instead of like trying to capture, like, oh, every single word the professor was saying or my boss was saying. I was able to get those concepts and actually put diagrams and images with them. And when I tell you, I was able to just level up in learning because it kind of, sometimes we're so busy trying to capture every single last word that we're so focused on doing that we're not really learning. We're not really processing what we're being taught, or, what we should walk away from the meeting with. We're not really getting the imagination and the creativity of what we're supposed to be getting out of a meeting or out of a church sermon, which leads me to my next point. Even in faith, if you are a person of faith like myself, note taking helps you to reflect and process and act on what truly matters. It helps to capture inspiration and track progress, like I told you about that notebook. I went back to 2001. Sometimes I look at my Bible notes and I look at things that I annotate in scripture, and it helps you to spot patterns in your thoughts and your experiences. And another thing it makes me mindful of, or it puts me in a mindset of, is something that I heard about that they do in Europe and I also started to incorporate, and that is a commonplace book. So a commonplace book is like a journal, except for it's not just for journaling your thoughts. Some people put pictures in there, or they may cut things out of a magazine and put them in there. So it's almost like a scrapbook. It's a commonplace book. It's for journaling. I write prayers in mine. I put pictures in there. I put concert tickets in there, or military ball tickets in there. And so it's something that I can go back to. I've looked in preparation for talking to you about note taking. I went and looked back at some commonplace books I had from a few years ago, and just looking back on just different things over my life, and it's just amazing, the things that we go through in our lives. And sometimes we are looking at today and the present, and we just oftentimes aren't really in remembrance on where we've come from. And this next thing is really, 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 really cracking me up. And that is this right here, y'all. Green Army military notebooks. This is kind of where it got started for me. Now, I took notes in middle school, high school. I was a person that used to try to write notes in school and try out different types of handwriting and things like that. But this right here, these right here, let's talk about these green Army military notebooks. These are sturdy, they're iconic. You see soldiers using these in the field. They are tough, they're weather resistant, they have durable pages. They're designed for real world use. And I am just over here reflecting back. I went and dug you all and found some of my Green Army military notebooks. These, when I tell you, this one in particular, let me see. Let me see. The first date I see in here is 2006. What? That was almost, this is almost 20 years old. 20 years old. These books are simple. It's a no nonsense design, perfect for quick notes, observations. I have I have sketches in here. These have history, they have symbolism, they've been used by generations of leaders, planners, thinkers. Just having one of these Green Army books, it just connects you to a tradition of discipline, observation, and self improvement. And let me tell you, one thing that I learned from being in the military, it is not if technology will fail you, it is when technology will fail you. And I think we have become entitled in this day and age that we will always have access to the internet, or we will always have access to the Bible app, or we'll have always have access to YouTube and things like that. But you never know. I have been deployed and things like that, and the internet will go black on you. I am telling you. And so it is always good that when you're learning, like, I am a woman after technology's heart. I like the smartwatches, the smartphones, the laptops, all of the things, the watches, the smart ring, you name it. I probably have it because I am a woman that loves technology. But one thing that I know is that your girl, Dr. E, I am prepared. If they pull the plug on the internet, between all of these books and these notebooks and all of this stuff, I am prepared either way. If the internet go out, I'm good. If we got it and I got I am good. It is not if technology will fail you, it is when technology will fail you. And when it does, or if it does, do you still have what you need? Do you still know what you need to know? Can you resort back to your books? Can you resort back to your notebooks? And I would like to think, because I feel like I know you all so very well, that you are going to be able to go back to your notebooks, that you're going to be able to go back to the books that you've annotated in, because I know that you know that handwriting is going to help connect what you've been reading and all of that stuff to your memory. And I just really like these notebooks. And one thing about being in the military that you almost learn right away is that don't get caught without a notebook. And it doesn't have to be a big one, because they do have little small versions that are like pocket size. And I know when I was a leader, I would check my soldiers like, hey, take note. Take note, be prepared to copy because I have an order, I have an instruction, something popped off. And guess what? You may not have time to get to something, something that popped off, and you have to be prepared to take note. And so I just like the idea, and I think it is a good discipline to always have a pen or paper. I am known for keeping index cards on me. I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy, but I'm always prepared to. I don't even go to my doctor's appointments without a notebook. You know what I'm saying? I just take note. Be prepared to take note because you just never know when you may need to jot down a note. But you never know. Your phone start acting up. I have notes, and so that's neither here nor there. There are just so many reasons that we should be taking notes. But just some quick tips. Don't overthink it. Your notes don't have to be perfect or pretty. Just get your thoughts down and carry a notebook everywhere. I think it's a good idea. There's so many different sizes. I've seen like little pocket size notebooks. They come in all shapes and sizes. I remember being in the military and we used to have like these little small pockets, and I kept like a little green memoranda book and index cards, and I was always ready. And I remember always being at the top of the list when it came to like graduating from like military academies and things like that. And people would be like, how in the world did you get that on that test? Or did you remember that? Or how are you doing that? And I can assure you that it is because of the way that I take notes. I am able to visualize what I have written down, and it is because of some of these note taking tips that I'm about to give you. And one of those things is carrying a notebook everywhere, capturing the ideas as they come. So, not trying just to rely on my memory alone. Reviewing your notes at the end of each day or each week, or like I did, I went back to 2001. I just read you something from 2006. Look for insights and next steps and lesson learned. And use your notebook to observe the world. Write things down that you notice, or questions you have, or things that you are grateful for. One thing that I really like about the planner that I use is that in the weekly spread, there's a little section for write things that you're grateful for. So even in the worst of weeks or the worst of months, if you woke up, you have something to be thankful for and to be grateful for. If you are breathing and you still have your health, if you got in your car and put the key in and you was able to get to and from somewhere, you have something to be thankful for. And so, um keep a notebook to just write things that you're grateful for and just reflect on, when times get challenging for you, you can go back and reflect on things that you are grateful for. And then challenge yourself to fill out a few pages every week. I do not journal every day. I'm not going to sit here and put pressure on myself, but I do. I write in my books, I write in my planner every week. You just have to find a way that works for you. So I annotate in my books, I write in my planner, but however you do it, just find a way to write. You have got this. Whether it's a green army notebook, whether it is a planner, whether it is a commonplace book, and watch your awareness and your memory and your growth expand. If you found this helpful, I encourage you just to continue to write, just to continue to read. And if you need any more tips, let me know in the comment section. If you are in need of encouragement, if you are in need of prayer, just check the description box. I will put some information down there for you. And just know, as much as we are on these reading trends and we have our TBRs and all of the things that we're doing, life is still happening as well. And so, no pressure on you. You read when you have time to read, you take notes when you have time to take notes, and you rest because God commands us to take rest as well. And as we have learned from today, Taking notes is good for our mental health. It's good for us to process some of our traumas, just like I process from my traumatic brain injury and from my trauma. And so I am going to encourage you, and I hope that you encourage somebody else. And as always, as we observe the world, I am encouraging you all to take notes.
Taking notes with Dr. E. A pen and tome of prophecy. One-tone fingers flipping pages, scars like apostrophes. Cafe smell of ink and latte steam. Soft-spoken wisdom gliding through a veteran's dream. Bible in my hand, heavy bass in my chest. Quiet sings the hook, but the beat does the rest. Pages burn, knowledge etched in the lines. Taking notes, Dr. E, where the past intertwines. Southern grit, a cadence sharp as bayonet steel. 808 rumbles like tanks on the battlefield. Library of the soul, spines cracked with weight. Every chapter bled, no room for debate.